see people start to sit down. That indicates the beginning of a civil disobedience, nonviolent, direct action protest. It looks like they're trying to distinguish between people who intend to be arrested and people who do not. Yeah, that's exactly what they're asking. And so the woman you just saw step out, these two women have decided they're not going to risk arrest today. So this is Winnie Wong. She's one of the organizers of this event. She was leading the cheers moments ago.
We're 48 hours out before the final vote, and we hope that the energy that has been demonstrated here in the building, as well as at the SCOTUS, will resonate with the senators who are on the fence today. Myself and Linda Sarsour and other leaders from the Women's March and from Center for Popular Democracy, we took an arrest. Over 200 of us took an arrest at the hearings, and then since then it's been a rolling series of protests, culminating in today's civil disobedience.
So, no matter how the vote goes, what do you think this means for this Me Too movement and this awakening that our country is very slowly...
I think they'd be stupid to not get the message. This is just the beginning. This is not a moment. This is a movement. We are organized. We have resources. We have bodies. We have allies. And this is just the beginning. Win or lose, we're back on the streets. We're at the ballot box. We'll be there in November. We'll be there in 2020.
I've been searching my brain for why Republicans would rather have Brett Kavanaugh than just another conservative jurist who would rule the same way. I said in an earlier livecast that one of the reasons is that Donald Trump is looking for someone to protect him from justice. But
I think that's true, but I think it's also indicative of the hubris, of this administration, right? Trump obviously has an incentive to get this nominee through as quickly as possible. But for somebody like McConnell, who is a despicable actor, a despicable legislator, who has no regard for any of the survivors who have shared their stories, or indeed for the large numbers of Americans who are saying, no, we don't want this nominee to be confirmed for 40 years. We reject this nominee. He has absolutely no regard for the American people, and he feels that we're challenging him. We're doorstepping him, right? And he's saying, you know what? We don't care. This is behavior that we've seen time and time and time again, and the only way that this behavior will change is if we vote them out.
As you know, our Congress is gerrymandered so that the people of color are all crammed into as few districts as possible. But you can't really gerrymander for gender. And I wonder how you've strategized about making an appeal to women who might otherwise be conservative and asking them to consider sexual assault and the Me Too movement when they cast their votes.
Well, look, I think that this particular mobilization has seen women from all across the political spectrum participate in, right? We've had people from different chapters of the Women's March who may not have, whose politics are not as progressive as mine, who have come here to participate, right? So we're marching in January. We're marching.
Yeah, tell us the date for that march.
January 19th will be the third anniversary of the Women's March, and we're taking the streets of D.C. again, and we're taking the streets all across the country. There will be a lot of women who are going to say, you know what, enough. The 52% of women who voted for Donald Trump are going to say, you know what, enough's enough.
52% of white women.
White women, that's right. Well, look, they thought we would go away quietly. They thought that they could shut us down, right? But what they've done is they've not only emboldened us, they've enraged us.
That's the other explanation that I can find. And historically, practices like lynching were intended to demoralize, to silence, to make people feel like it isn't worth the risk, and that whatever you do to try to challenge the established hierarchies, that you'll be punished.
Have at it. Go ahead and try to punish me. I'm not afraid. Right? I think that these demonstrations are also very revealing. If I say that I'm not afraid, you only have to turn your camera to these protesters who are being marched out of the Hart building right now, they are also saying they're not afraid. So go ahead and try to punish us all. We are not afraid. We're not backing down.
Well, part of the reason why the terrorists of all kind have always tried to make examples of a few is so that the many would be quiet. So I'm more than convinced that the people that are here today are not going to back down. What about the people who are seeing this right now, but they're at home?
I think that every time we mobilize and we're able to do it as effectively as we have, and today is another example of an absolutely pristine and perfect mobilization of civil disobedience, what that does is that tells people at home who are watching, whether on your live stream at the Young Turks or on CNN, wall-to-wall like cable coverage of this right now, they're inspired by it, right? We're of course going to have a large number of people who are who are loyal to the Trump base and to Trump himself, i.e. Fox News, who will say, these people are insane, look at what they're doing. But that's actually not the real story. The real story being told right now is being told wall to wall on television stations and on Facebook streams and on Twitter feeds all over the world right now. And they're inspired by us. So we have the majority. We are the majority. We are the radical majority. This is the beginning. I think that every woman, every mother, every sister, every daughter who sees a woman or a sister or a mother or a daughter being arrested today is inspired. They're emboldened. They are emboldened and they're enraged, frankly. Like I said, this is just the beginning.
There's some men who are being arrested as well. What's your message?
I want to thank all the allies who have come out to join us today. We need all of you. We need you to show up. We have a lot of work to do. The fight is just beginning, and I really got to run.
Okay, thank you. Winnie Wong, organizer of this protest and many more.